Today on the Gold Standard.
Just turn on the television or read the newspaper today, or how many bankrupt cryptocurrency companies are there now? Don't forget, folks, your money disappears when that happens. When these companies become so reckless and they're doing stuff with your money, and then they're all of a sudden gone, so is your money. Gone, disappeared, you'll never see it again.
This is the Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group with Kenneth Russo. Hello, I'm Dave Dino. Welcome to the Gold Standard, your source for secure investment opinion and information about the advantages of purchasing and owning precious metals. Whether you're a novice investor or an experienced collector, this is the program that gives you a realistic weekly perspective on the state of the economy, reliable information about using precious metals such as gold, silver, and platinum to safeguard your wealth, and remarkable details about specific precious metal coins and bullion. Ken Russo is a senior vice president at Midas Gold Group. His peers characterize him as a straight shooter who will work harder for you than anyone else. Ken, it is a pleasure to join you again this week.
Yeah, it's a printing party, Dave. Happy to join you too.
And we'll get into that in just a moment because our topic is the tipping point in America. And Ken, let's start with a look back at the 2008 financial crisis. What lessons did we learn about the advantage of owning physical gold?
Well, first of all, why did it happen too, right? Because the banking industry and the government is so reckless when it comes to spending and lending and money printing and most of all debt, right, Dave?
Right.
And the debt situation is today out of control. And when it happened back in 2008, which a lot of people were wiped out and never came back. Most people or some people were financially ruined forever. The stock market plummeted because stock market relies on earnings. And when the economy gets bad, earnings for these companies get bad. And that's what we're seeing right now. And that's why more than likely the stock market has a lot more to go down over the next year or two. And when you consider inflation, that's a huge, huge hit. But back in 2008, after the stock market went down, Dave, the real estate market crashed. Banks were getting creamed. I don't know if people remember, but Citigroup and stuff, I mean, those shares were like $1 a share because most of them, well, they are insolvent, but at that particular time, most people were just forced to sell their stocks. And we'll see another scenario like that soon. And behind the scenes, those who were diversified, though, Dave, with gold, were grateful because gold actually during 2008 went from about $600 or $700 an ounce to $1,900 3 years later. So the stocks got creamed. Gold made up for that. And why? Because the government came to the rescue, of course. And the rescue, big surprise, folks, was to print a lot more money. That's exactly what's going to happen here over the next few years as we have inflation and as we have a bad economy and we have stock markets falling and we have things that have definitely changed. And I would say when we're in that mode, gold is more important than ever. And the smart folks, Dave, during nearly every economic downturn in U.S. history or throughout different worldwide economic collapses, those who have held a significant portion of their wealth in gold at least were not financially ruined when things all came apart. And that's why it's so important for people out there to be diversifying today and considering moving a significant portion of their paper assets, which will get crushed with what's going on, into something that typically always holds its value and even does better than that sometimes, which is physical gold, Dave.
So when worried friends and family ask me what I'm doing to prepare for an economic downturn, I always tell them to diversify with the best gold that you can find, with the best company you can find. And for me, that's Midas Gold Group.
Well, that's kind, Dave, right? And you're doing them a favor. They're in good hands. But I would just say it's important because bankers and advisors and television, I mean, turn on the television today and all you see is buy the dip. All they talk about is the Federal Reserve is going to pivot and they're going to come to the rescue. The Fed is going to come to the rescue, and that's a very bad way to invest. It's kind of like hoping, right? And you can't invest and protect your wealth based on hoping. What you can do, Dave, is you can take some basic steps and work with some good people to diversify. And one of the assets that historically, for thousands of years, that has held its purchasing power, that has held its buying power, that has reflected the loss of printing. Basically, the price of gold goes up because it reflects what our paper money, what it loses in value, Dave. And that's what happens. I mean, our paper money loses 5, 10, 15% every single year. And now we're at 40-year highs inflation. Interest rates are no longer going down. Americans have been taught that, well, just kind of hang in there and the markets will always bounce back. Just hold on and you'll soon be making money again. But that may not happen for a very, very long time. We've already seen $100 trillion lost in stocks, bonds, and real estate and private businesses, literally, Dave, worldwide over the last year. Zuckerberg has lost over 100 billion in value and in wealth. Couldn't happen to a better guy. That's that's the way it goes. U.S. debt is at $93 trillion when you think about the federal government and corporations and households. It's at an all-time high, and literally the debt for the U.S. government is growing $3.8 billion per day. Think about that. It's growing at $3.8 billion per day. This is a situation that's spiraling out of control, and you don't want to lose everything when it all comes crashing down. And there's a very realistic chance, Dave, that our financial system could come and will come crashing down. And that's why you want to own gold.
A reminder here that you're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group, and our topic today is America at the tipping point. Ken, we look back at 2008, but let's take a look at where America is today. As I said, at a tipping point. I have some quotes on the economy from some recognized financial experts that I'd like you to comment on. They're kind of really modern-day financial prophets, you might say, because they're giving us warnings. First, Bank of America's chief investment strategy sent an urgent memo warning clients: inflation shock worsening, rates shock just beginning, recession shock coming.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a crystal ball, but the writing is on the wall, right, Dave? We talk about this, and what's really scary is what's the solution from all of our leaders and from all of our banking examples and from all of the people who are supposed to be doing the right thing when it comes to our money. The solution is let's print and spend more money.
Yep.
But inflation is very real, and it's not going away. This is something that we've kind of subdued for close to 40 years. We've had a great few decades of abnormally low interest rates, and our money continues to be devalued, but it's not anything that's just going to disappear. I mean, how ridiculous is it? You turn on the television, and another thing you'll hear is inflation is over. And I think we've seen the tipping point of the peak of inflation. I mean, I don't understand what these people are looking at. Why would we be at the tipping point of inflation? They're talking about a rail strike now, and they're talking about supply chain issues still existing, and we're talking about our oil reserves at a 25-year low or something like that, and diesel, which could only be 20 or 30 days worth of supply. So how on earth is inflation near its peak? How is inflation not relevant anymore? These people are obscenely misguided and delusional, but they're the ones that are controlling our money and what's going on. And that's what the scary part is. So we will see a recession shock that's coming, and that will affect earnings for companies. And when earnings for companies goes down, prices of stocks go down. And if there aren't people out there that are willing to buy our government debt, which is fewer and fewer as these days and months and years go by, nobody wants to touch our toxic debt. If the Federal Reserve Bank isn't going to buy all the debt like it did over the last couple of years, or at least more than half of it, who exactly is going to buy our debt? So if nobody wants to buy our debt, they have to raise interest rates to make those bonds more attractive. So interest rates could be over 10% over the next year at some point. People are not expecting this, Dave. This goes back to what you and I were talking about just a few minutes ago. It feels like something versus over the last few decades has definitely changed. And the bottom line is you have to adjust your situation and your portfolio with that change. And in our opinion, the best thing to do is to be more defensive And more defensive means more diversification. And more diversification means getting your money out of the system, or at least a good portion of it, and convert it into something that you could hold. You could bury it in the backyard like physical gold and silver. It will be there, Dave, when you need it.
I was looking at some other headlines. Fox Business says the U.S. economic outlook is darkening so rapidly that a recession may be on the horizon. Fortune says recession signals flashing red. And they revealed that billionaire so-called geniuses, Carl Icahn, Bill Gross, and Jeff Gundlach, all agree that a recession, or even worse, will soon sweep the nation. And transferring cash reserves and investments over into physical gold and into a gold IRA would really help to protect and counteract the terrible effects of a recession. And we're going to talk more about that as we continue today. Our topic is America at the tipping point. And we're going to highlight several other tangible ways that you can convert your wealth into the security of gold. First, though, a reminder you are listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. And coming up, we're going to take a look at a specific precious metal that you can use to safeguard your wealth. And that's coming up right after this.
What's happening in America is frightening. The Biden regime has caused a record inflation. Crime is rampant, and our borders are wide open to criminals and drug dealers. Sebastian Gorka here. Now, after the election, Biden says he isn't going to change a thing. Radical Democrats are even more emboldened. That can only mean greater disaster for the American economy, for your money, for your retirement, which is why it's wise to convert your savings and a good portion of your investments into gold with the only gold company I recommend, Midas Gold Group. Gold holds its value when economies fail. Economists are now talking about a looming recession, so I recommend calling veteran-owned Midas Gold Group to safeguard your savings and investments with physical gold before you lose even more. Go to MidasGoldGroup.com, or better yet, call them on 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-GOLD. It's gold you can hold. Call 855-322-GOLD.
And we're back with more of The Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino, and our topic today is America at the tipping point. By the way, if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, you can actually come and visit our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com, M-I-D-A-S, MidasGoldGroup.com. For those of you listening in other cities, just call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, that's 855-322-4653. Now, it's time for our precious metal spotlight of the week. Today, let's talk about my favorite gold bar. It is the Credit Suisse Gold Bar. Ken, I have this in my gold collection, and it's a favorite of mine because of its impressive appearance.
Yeah, Dave. Well, it's a favorite of mine too, as you know, and you definitely have a good eye. The Credit Suisse Gold Bar, it seems to stand out from many of the other bullion bars. It's a very attractive design, and it has a very bright luster with the white packaging and the bar, the certain color gold that Credit Suisse is. It really stands out. It also has excellent value, though, Dave. It's backed by the world-renowned Credit Suisse Bank of Switzerland. They sure do make nice gold, and it's 0.9999 pure gold, Dave. That's what you call 24 karat pure gold. And the Credit Suisse bar, it's an excellent and efficient way, Dave, to own quality gold bullion for sure.
Ken, you have told me in the past that there are advantages for both gold coins and gold bars. What are those?
Yeah, and we would always encourage a mix, right, Dave? You know, that's the bottom line. There's no one right or one wrong product to have when it comes to gold. That's probably the most common question that people have when we talk privately or on the phone. But gold bars give you a bit more gold for your money. But when the gold market goes up, they're not going to go up as much as a coin. And why would the coin go up more? Well, they only make a certain amount of them. The gold coins have a bit more intrinsic value, say, because of their design and their beauty, and also because of the government mint being the maker of the coin, which does hold some weight. But bars are a great way to have gold. It's a great way to get the benefits of gold. And what is that? Well, it's a medium of exchange. It's a store of value. It's a product that will hold your purchasing power. It's diversification. It's a way to get your money out of the system. And the Credit Suisse Gold Bar, Dave, is a great product to consider for anybody who's looking for those benefits.
And listeners, they can actually see the Credit Suisse Gold Bar on your website, MidasGoldGroup.com, right?
Yeah, Dave, and we're not an internet dealer. Don't forget, folks, when you buy gold on the internet, there's a paper trail of you buying gold on the internet, which in our opinion, gold should be about privacy. It should be nobody's business what you're doing with your money. So we're not an internet superstore when it comes to precious metals, but the website has all free information. It has the prices of different markets at the top of the website. It has articles that we write every week on a blog. It's all free, and there's also some ways that you could fill out some online forms that would just be submitted to us, and then you could have a trader give you a call, and we can talk about these individual products. But the website gives everybody, Dave, a nice little background of what these products look like and where they came from and when they were first made and if they're still made today. So it's real good education when it comes to precious metals. It's all free, but it's a way to kind of get in touch with what's going on here in the markets and with us here at Midas Gold Group. It's all private. We don't share information, Dave, on any of our clients with anyone. There's no buying of anything on the website, so there's no paper trail of anyone owning gold and silver. Financial freedom and financial privacy is very important, but the website, Dave, is a great resource for people to use. It's free, but more importantly, it's a way to get in touch with us.
And as we have indicated, people can also come and actually visit your local office. You have one in the Los Angeles area and the Phoenix area, and they can actually see some of the product in person.
Without a doubt. And if you have that advantage, then that's great. But don't let not being close to Phoenix or Los Angeles, and hopefully we'll have more offices in the future, don't let that prohibit you from getting diversified. Call, and we can go over it together privately. We could make some suggestions and come up with some proposals. It takes a little while to get to know a client, but it's definitely able to be done through a short phone call. We know what questions to ask. So if you have the advantage of coming into a local office, terrific. If not, call today, leave your contact information, and we will get in touch and we will find out what possibly you may want to think about when it comes to gold and when it comes to silver, and more importantly, when it comes to protecting yourself.
And getting back to the website, I use that very, very often to go and look at different gold and precious metal products that you have, silver and platinum as well. And I love being able to see them and to read the in-depth descriptions that I think are very, very interesting. Coming up in a moment, we're going to continue our topic of America at the tipping point with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. And that's coming up right after this.
What does record high inflation mean to you? It now costs painfully more to buy most of the essentials of life than it did a year ago under the Biden regime. Your money is losing value. Sebastian Gorka here. One thing that doesn't lose value is gold, which is why it's wise to convert your savings and a good portion of your investments into gold with the only gold company I recommend, Midas Gold Group. Gold holds its value when economies fail, with stocks and bonds crashing down over 20% since the beginning of the year. Gold has held its value. I recommend calling veteran-owned Midas Gold Group to safeguard your savings and investments with physical gold before you lose even more. The economic signs are worrisome. Go to MidasGoldGroup.com, or better yet, call 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-GOLD. It's gold you can hold. Call today, 855-322-GOLD.
And we're back with more of The Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino, and our topic today is America at the tipping point. As we have been saying, if you live in Los Angeles or Phoenix area, you can come and visit our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and the directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com, M-I-D-A-S, MidasGoldGroup.com. And for those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, 855-322-4653. Now, let's return to our topic. Ken, What we're hearing more and more is that America is about to go through a huge change. And this change could threaten our way of life and derail our dreams of a happy retirement unless we take decisive action to safeguard our cash and our investments.
I would say that's 100% accurate, Dave. It's pretty straightforward, right? And just turn on the television or read the newspaper today, or how many bankrupt cryptocurrency companies are there now? Don't forget, folks, your money disappears when that happens. When these companies become so reckless and they're doing stuff with your money, and then they're all of a sudden gone, so is your money. Gone, disappeared. You'll never see it again. So there has to be a portion, Dave, of everybody's nest egg that's unacceptable. That action that these people have done, it's a disgrace. But it doesn't have to happen to you. There has to be a portion of your wealth, a significant portion of your wealth that is undeniably untouchable. Something that will always be there and have wealth and have value, and you can sell it whenever you need to. It'll be there for you and your family, and that's gold and silver. It's not all of this speculation, Dave. It's not gambling. You can't speculate with 100% of your money. Eventually, the joyride, like now, it's not working anymore, and trillions of dollars are disappearing. And you just can't deal with your money, Dave, like that, like it doesn't matter. It does matter, and you have to do some stuff that's very fundamental. And one of the best things you can do today as an investor is just take a portion of your wealth, your nest egg, your cash, your stocks, your bonds, your annuities, whatever, convert it and diversify it into physical gold and silver. And no matter what happens tomorrow morning when we wake up, and who's in business anymore, who's not in business, which banks are participating in this digital dollar pilot program, it doesn't matter, because you know that at least you have a significant portion of what you've worked so hard and saved so hard for so many years. At least you know that some of it is safeguarded. And that's the bottom line. I really want people to understand that, Dave.
Ken, I've got one final question for you today, and I want to go back to a riveting example that you have shared on several programs. It's an example I can't get out of my head. It has to do with a $100,000 nest egg. Can you go over that for us again?
Sure. If you had $100,000 in a bank account 20 years ago, that $100,000 today with interest leaving at the bank would be worth probably around $103,000, $104,000, let's say, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
But the buying power, Dave, of that original $100,000 would probably be only $40,000, $50,000 worth of buying power.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, if you had $100,000 worth of gold, that would be worth $400,000 or $500,000 worth of gold today.
Wow.
Versus $40,000 or $50,000 worth of paper buying power. That's a significant difference. This is a wake-up call to people who are listening out there, or if you know someone, you'd be doing yourself a big favor over the next few years if you moved a significant portion of your assets into physical gold and silver right now.
And that is going to bring us to the end of our time together today here on The Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group. And a reminder, opinions given here are not intended to be specific to your investment strategy, but rather general information to give you a better understanding of investing in precious metals. For answers to your questions, call Midas Gold Group at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. And the website is MidasGoldGroup.com, M-I-D-A-S, MidasGoldGroup.com. The Midas Gold Group is proud to be America's #1 veteran-owned gold dealer, supporting veterans' causes with a portion of profits donated to the Wounded Warriors Project and the Semper Fi Fund. So your investment in your future is also an investment in the future of those who have bravely served the cause of freedom. Again, the number to call to speak directly with Midas Gold Group is 855-322-GOLD. I hope you'll write it down, and I hope you'll call them, 855-322-GOLD. Ken, thank you again for your very, very valuable time today.
My pleasure, Dave. Have a good day.
I will. You have made it even better. I'm Dave Dino. Come and join us again next week at the same time for another edition of The Gold Standard.
The Gold Standard was brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.